Sometimes the greatest love stories aren't about romance at all. This is the story of Sarah, a story about a single mother who discovered that the most powerful love is the one that protects, and sometimes protecting the ones we love means keeping the most painful secrets. Sarah Chen stood in the Lincoln Elementary parking lot, watching her son Lucas through the third-grade classroom window. He was 8 years old now, old enough to notice things, like how other kids got picked up by their dads sometimes, like how the Father's Day crafts made his mom's eyes go sad, like how she always checked the locks twice before bed. Why don't I have a dad like Tommy does? The question had come last week, out of nowhere while they were eating mac and cheese. Sarah had fumbled through an answer about different kinds of families, but Lucas was smart. Too smart. He was starting to connect the dots she'd spent 8 years trying to hide. She worked double shifts at Ruby's Diner on 5th Street, early mornings serving coffee to construction workers, late nights cleaning the kitchen after closing. Lucas stayed with Mrs. Wong, their upstairs neighbor, a retired teacher who asked no questions, who understood that some stories were better left untold. The other mothers at school pickup whispered behind their hands. Sarah could feel their judgment burning into her back. The single mom who works at the diner. Poor kid doesn't even know who his father is. Wonder what kind of mess she got herself into. But they didn't know the truth. They didn't know about the 19-year-old girl who'd run for her life, who'd chosen safety over stability, who'd been looking over her shoulder for 8 years. David Morrison had been 28 when they met. Sarah was a college freshman working nights at a campus bar. He was charming, confident, successful, everything a naive 19-year-old thought she wanted. The age difference felt sophisticated. The expensive dinners felt romantic. The way he wanted to know where she was every minute felt like love, until it didn't. It started small, criticism disguised as caring. You shouldn't wear that dress, it attracts the wrong attention. Your friends are a bad influence, they're jealous of what we have. You don't need that job anymore, I can take care of you. Control wrapped in concern. Isolation presented as protection. And Sarah, young and inexperienced, mistook possession for passion. By the time she realized what was happening, she was pregnant, and David's mask had slipped completely. "You're mine now," he'd said, hand gripping her wrist too tight. "The baby makes it permanent. Try to leave me and I'll make sure you lose everything. I have lawyers, I have money, I have connections, you have nothing." But David was wrong. Sarah had something he'd never understand, a mother's instinct, a fierce, primal need to protect her child, even if it meant protecting him from his own father. So she planned, quietly, carefully, saving every dollar from her secret part-time job, researching shelters in different states, preparing for the fight of her life. She left on a Tuesday night in March, while David was at a business dinner, with nothing but a diaper bag, $300, and her unborn son. She drove her beat-up Honda until it ran out of gas, then took a Greyhound bus to Portland, Oregon, changed her last name from Morrison to Chen, her grandmother's maiden name, started over as someone new. Lucas was born 2 months later, in a county hospital, with no family present, no father listed on the birth certificate, just Sarah and her baby boy, starting their life together, building something beautiful from nothing, creating safety from scratch. For 8 years they'd been happy, poor but happy. Their small apartment above Wong's Chinese restaurant was cramped, but it was theirs. Lucas had never known fear, never seen his mother get hurt, never witnessed the kind of violence that had driven them away. In his world, it was just him and Mom, and that was enough. "Mom, why do you work so much?" The question came on a Thursday evening. Sarah was home late from a catering gig. Lucas was at the kitchen table doing homework. Her feet ached from 12 hours on them. Her back screamed from lifting heavy trays. But she looked at her son's concerned face and smiled. "Because I want to give you a good life, sweetheart. But you look sad all the time now." "Do I?" "Yeah, tired, sad, like you forgot how to be happy." Out of the mouths of babes, Sarah realized Lucas was right. She'd been so focused on surviving, on providing, on protecting, that she'd forgotten about living, about being present, about enjoying the beautiful boy she'd worked so hard to keep safe. That's when she saw the job posting at Cornerstone Books. Assistant manager position. Better pay, regular hours, benefits that included health insurance. It seemed too good to be true, but Sarah was tired of settling for barely getting by. Maybe it was time to reach for something better. The interview went perfectly. Margaret Sullivan, the owner, was warm and professional. 60-something with kind eyes and laugh lines. She seemed genuinely impressed with Sarah's work ethic. "You have excellent references," Margaret said. "3 different managers praised your reliability, but I do need to run a standard background check. Company policy, nothing personal." Sarah's stomach dropped to her shoes. Background check, real names, social security numbers, 8 years of carefully constructed new identity, about to be unraveled by company policy. Would that be a problem?" Margaret asked. She'd noticed Sarah's sudden pale complexion, the way her hands started shaking. "No, of course not." Sarah forced brightness into her voice. "I completely understand." But inside, she was screaming. If they dug deep enough, if David had private investigators, if he'd been monitoring credit reports, he could find them. Sarah drove home in a daze. Lucas was at the kitchen table building Legos, creating elaborate cities with careful precision. "Look, Mom, it's our apartment building." He pointed to a small structure. "And that's your work. And that's my school. It's perfect, honey. I made it safe. See the walls all around? Nobody bad can get in." Sarah stared at his innocent creation, her 8-year-old son building walls, without even realizing why he felt the need for protection. Children absorb more than we think they do, pacing their small living room, checking the door locks repeatedly, looking out the window at every car that passed. Old habits die hard. The hypervigilance never really goes away. You just learn to manage it, to function despite it. But one phone call about a background check, and all the old fears came flooding back. Margaret called 3 days later. "Sarah, could you come in this afternoon? We need to discuss your application." Sarah's hands went numb. "Of course. Is everything all right? We'll talk when you get here." The drive to the bookstore felt like a death march. Lucas was at school, probably working on math problems, completely unaware that his world might be about to change. Again, Margaret's office was cozy, books everywhere, plants in the windows, a safe space, but Sarah felt like a deer in headlights. "Your references are glowing," Margaret began. "Everyone speaks highly of your character, but your background check came back." "Interesting." Sarah braced herself. "Your employment history only goes back 8 years. Before that, it's like Sarah Chen didn't exist." Now, I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing. People start over for lots of reasons, but I'd like to hear your story. If you're comfortable sharing. Sarah stared at her hands, weighing her options. Run again. Start over somewhere else. Keep Lucas safe by keeping them moving. Or, trust this kind woman with the truth. Risk everything for the possibility of something better. "I was running," she said finally. "From someone who hurt me, someone who would hurt my son if he found us. I changed my name, changed everything, built a new life from nothing, because staying meant danger, and leaving meant survival." Margaret leaned forward. "How long has it been?" 8 years. "And you've been alone all this time, raising Lucas by yourself, working multiple jobs to stay afloat, always looking over your shoulder?" "Yes," the word came out as a whisper. 8 years of carrying the weight alone. 8 years of being strong. 8 years of never letting her guard down. "Sarah, listen to me very carefully." Margaret's voice was gentle but firm. "You don't have to keep running. There are legal protections now. Restraining orders, domestic violence programs, safe housing, legal advocacy. What happened 8 years ago, it doesn't have to define the rest of your life, or Lucas's life." Sarah felt something crack inside her chest. Hope. Dangerous, terrifying hope. What if he finds us? What if fighting back makes him angrier? What if I lose Lucas in a custody battle? What if he has better lawyers? All the fears she'd been carrying, all the nightmares that kept her awake, all the reasons she'd been running instead of fighting. "Sarah, how old is Lucas now?" 8. "He's going to start asking harder questions soon. About his father, about why you seem scared sometimes, about why you work so hard but can't seem to get ahead. Kids aren't blind to their parents' pain. They feel what we feel. They carry what we carry." Margaret was right. Sarah had seen it already. The way Lucas tried to take care of her. The way he built walls around his Lego cities. The way he never asked for things he wanted, because he sensed they couldn't afford them, both financially and emotionally. That evening, Sarah had the hardest conversation of her life. "Lucas, can we talk about something serious?" They were on the couch after dinner. Lucas put down his book. "Am I in trouble?" "No, baby, never. But I need to ask you something. Do you ever wonder about your dad?" Lucas nodded slowly. "Sometimes. What do you wonder? Why he doesn't want to see me? If I did something wrong? If that's why you're sad sometimes?" Sarah pulled him close. Lucas, listen very carefully. Your father isn't in our lives because he wasn't safe, not because of anything you did, not because he doesn't love you, but because being around him would be dangerous, for both of us. So I made a choice to keep us safe, to keep us together, just you and me. Did he hurt you? The question was barely audible. Yes. Would he hurt me? I would never let that happen. That's why we left. That's why we started over, to make sure you grew up safe and happy. Lucas processed this information, old enough to understand, young enough to accept it without fear. Are we still hiding? Yes, we are. Will we always have to hide? I hope not, sweetheart. I really hope not. 2 weeks later, Sarah called Margaret. About those resources you mentioned. I think I'm ready to learn more. Margaret connected her with Portland Women's Legal Center, with attorney Rebecca Martinez, a woman who specialized in domestic violence cases, who understood the long journey from victim to survivor. 8 years is significant, Rebecca said. A lot changes in 8 years. The legal landscape has evolved. We have better protection mechanisms now. Stronger enforcement, more comprehensive support systems. She outlined their options, restraining orders that followed them anywhere, legal name changes that sealed old records, custody protections that prioritize safety over paternal rights, a legal fortress around their small family. What are the risks? Sarah asked. There are always risks. The legal process could alert him to your location. Court proceedings are public record, but we can request sealed files, anonymous addresses, extra security measures. The goal is to make you safer, not more vulnerable. Sarah took a deep breath. What do I need to do? The legal process took 8 months. 8 months of paperwork and court dates. 8 months of digging up the past. 8 months of Lucas asking why they had to meet with so many lawyers. But also 8 months of building something stronger. A foundation that couldn't be shaken. Legal protections that traveled with them. Official documentation that David Morrison was forbidden from contact. Forever. During those 8 months, Sarah started working at Cornerstone Books. Margaret had held the position for her, understanding that some battles take time, that some victories require patience. Lucas loved coming to the bookstore after school, doing homework in the children's section, helping Sarah organize shelves, being part of a community for the first time in his life. The restraining order was finalized on a Tuesday in October. Rebecca called with the news. It's done, Sarah. You're legally protected now. Both of you. If David comes within 500 feet of you, Lucas, your home, or your work, he'll be arrested immediately. If he contacts you directly or through third parties, arrested. If he tries to take Lucas, kidnapping charges. You're not 19 and powerless anymore. You're a mother with legal protection. That night, Sarah told Lucas the good news. Remember when we talked about staying safe? About hiding from your father? Well, we don't have to hide anymore. What do you mean? We have legal protection now, like invisible armor that follows us everywhere. So if he ever tries to find us, the police will keep us safe. We can stay here, in our home, with our friends, with our life. Lucas smiled the biggest smile she'd seen in months. So I can play Little League next season? You can play Little League. And I can invite friends over. You can invite friends over. And we don't have to be scared anymore. We never have to be scared again. 6 months later, Sarah was working the afternoon shift at Cornerstone when Lucas burst through the door, still in his baseball uniform, dirt on his knees and joy on his face. Mom, we won, 12-8. I hit a double. Coach says I'm one of the best players on the team. Margaret smiled from behind the register. Sounds like someone's having a good season. The best. Lucas beamed. Can I tell her about the championship game? Watching her son be a normal kid. Playing sports, making friends, living the childhood she'd always dreamed of giving him. That evening, while Sarah was closing the store, Margaret approached her. I got a strange call today. Sarah's blood chilled. Old instincts never fully disappear. What kind of call? Someone claiming to be a private investigator, looking for information about Sarah Morrison. Your old name. The fear came rushing back. 8 years of conditioning. 8 months of legal protection. But still, the fear. I told him no one by that name worked here, that he must be mistaken. He was very insistent, said his client had reason to believe she was in the Portland area. I said his client was wrong. Margaret handed her a business card. He left this. Sarah stared at the card. David Morrison, real estate development. After 8 years, he was still looking, still trying to control, still refusing to let go. Sarah called Rebecca immediately. He's found us. Not exactly, But he's close. What do I do? You do nothing. This is exactly why we built the legal protection. Let me handle this. I'll contact his attorney. Remind them of the restraining order. Make it clear that any contact constitutes violation, which means jail time. The law is on our side now, Sarah. All of it. Sarah saw him through the window, older, grayer, but unmistakably him. The man who had controlled her life for 2 years, who had haunted her dreams for 8 more, standing on the sidewalk like he had every right to be there, but something was different this time. Sarah wasn't 19 and terrified. She was 27 and strong. She was a business manager, a valued employee, a respected community member, a mother who had built a beautiful life through sheer will, and she had backup. Margaret saw him too. Is that him? Yes. Call Rebecca, then call 911. I'll go outside. Margaret, no, he could be dangerous. Sarah, look around. We're on a busy street in broad daylight. There are witnesses everywhere, and I'm 62 years old. I've dealt with bullies before. Sarah watched through the window, as Margaret walked outside with confidence, as she spoke firmly to David, as his face grew red with anger, but as he also got back in his rental car and drove away. The police arrived 7 minutes later, followed by Rebecca. By coming to Sarah's workplace, David had violated the restraining order. The consequences were immediate and severe. He'll spend at least 48 hours in jail, Rebecca explained. Violation of a protection order is serious here. The judge will likely extend the restraining order, maybe make it permanent. This shows he's still a threat, still trying to intimidate and control. Oregon courts don't tolerate that. Sarah felt something unexpected, not fear, not anger, but pity, for a man so consumed with control that he'd wasted 8 years of his life, hunting someone who didn't want to be found, instead of building his own happiness. 1 year later, Lucas was running across the baseball field at Jefferson Park, bottom of the 9th inning, championship game. Sarah was in the stands with the other parents, cheering until her voice was hoarse. Part of a community, part of something bigger than survival. After the game, Lucas ran to her with his trophy, grass stains on his uniform, pure joy on his face. Did you see my catch? I saved the whole game. I saw it, superstar. You were amazing. Coach wants me to try out for the travel team. Can I? Of course you can. Really? You won't say it costs too much, or that it's too much driving. Sarah laughed. Those days are over, Lucas. If you want to play baseball, you're gonna play baseball, and I'm gonna drive you wherever you need to go, and cheer until everyone else complains I'm too loud. As they walked to the car, Lucas took her hand. Mom? Yes, sweetheart? I'm really glad we don't have to be scared anymore. Me too, and I'm glad you smile for real now. Not just pretend smile. Do I smile different? Yeah. Before you smiled like you were trying to convince yourself. Now you smile like you mean it. Sarah squeezed his hand. I have a lot to smile about. Like what? Like you. Like our life. Like our friends. Like the fact that we get to just be happy, without looking over our shoulders, without wondering if today's the day we have to run. We get to stay. We get to belong somewhere. We get to be home. That night, as Sarah tucked Lucas into bed, he said something that made her heart soar. Mom, when I grow up, I want to be brave like you. You already are brave, sweetheart. But I want to be the kind of brave that helps other people, like how Margaret helped us, and Rebecca helped us. I want to help families who are scared, show them they can be safe too. Sarah kissed his forehead. You're going to change the world, Lucas Chen, just like you changed mine. Sometimes the greatest love story is between a mother and child. Sometimes running away is the first step toward running toward something better, and sometimes the strongest thing you can do is trust that you deserve a safe, happy life, and fight for it.